Today's episode is sponsored by Deltek, powering project success. Visit them at deltek.com.
Aerospace and defense manufacturing.
Machines and automation.
Additive manufacturing.
Smart manufacturing.
The global manufacturing economy.
Welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals, powered by SME. From the design screen to the shop floor to final assembly, we drive the conversation about making manufacturing smarter by connecting people who are passionate about manufacturing.
Hello and welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get new episodes delivered to your feed each week. I'm David Muller, Senior Editor at SME Media, and I'll be your host today. We're joined by Padma Raghunathan, Product Marketing Manager at Deltek, and today we're going to be talking about smart manufacturing and the future of the workplace. Deltek is a global provider of software and solutions for project-based businesses, and as Product Marketing Manager, Padma plays a pivotal role in advancing Deltek CostPoint and Deltek TIP Technologies manufacturing and quality solutions. She has more than 15 years of experience in the aerospace and defense industry and has held roles in sales, marketing, business development, customer relations, and program management. Thanks for joining us, Padma. We're glad to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Hi, David. Thank you very much for having me on this podcast, and I'm very excited to be here today. Just a little bit about myself for your listeners, if you will. I've been in the aerospace and defense industry for 15 years, as David mentioned, and my experience in leading and managing multiple contracts and programs with customers and suppliers globally, it's helped me develop a passion for delivering value to my customers and partners. And in my current position at Deltek, I wear the product marketing hat for manufacturing and quality solutions. And for those of you who are not familiar with Deltek, we are the leading global provider of software for project-based businesses. And we have a whole suite of solutions that helps project-based businesses to whether it's enhancing productivity, accuracy, value across the entire project lifecycle. And specifically for manufacturing, we do offer integrated manufacturing solutions, and it combines proposal pricing, project accounting, purchasing, supply chain, material, inventory, shop floor execution, quality assurance into one scalable, secure government compliance solutions. And, Deltek's been supporting project-based businesses for more than 40 years now. And we, scale across more than 30,000 organizations, including small, medium, and large businesses. So yeah, we've been around for a while.
Excellent. And so you're probably really close to one of the things that we want to talk about today, which is automation, especially human-machine integration, and how it can lead to workforce augmentation. Maybe if we could start maybe telling us a little bit about advancements. Obviously, artificial intelligence, AI is huge right now. How are advancements in AI, machine learning, and robotics shaping human-machine integration in modern manufacturing today?
Yeah. And, to put this question in some perspective and maybe to even set the stage for the discussion, one thing I definitely want to tell your audience is that, we should understand that technology, it's not about replacing human mind, right? It's about augmenting human capabilities. Because when you talk about human-machine integration, it's about how you augment human capabilities. And it's about making manufacturing smarter and more efficient. And one thing I would also like to add here, and just to give another layer of perspective, with some data, is that Deltek actually conducts an annual survey of the government contracting industry, and we've been doing this for about 15 years now. And one of the strategies that we have seen from manufacturers is that they are now deploying automation to address some critical challenges, whether it's quality, whether it's labor shortages. And if I recollect correctly, almost 50% of our respondents actually say that automation is emerging as a key strategy for the future. And I can go all day about our Clarity survey, but I would recommend your listeners to actually go onto deltek.com. They can download this report. It's for free, and it's a very comprehensive report about government contracting and manufacturing. So how all of this is, tying into modern manufacturing, right? So when we talk about advancements, whether it's automation, AI, machine learning, there are a couple of things that come to mind. I mean, when you say manufacturing, right, it's a data and labor intense environment. So when you say take the latest technology like AI, which is the top of the mind for everybody, the one thing I can think of right off the bat is predictive maintenance. You can use an AI tool which can say monitor every machine or equipment that's on the shop floor, and it can actually predict when something might break down. So what happens is now you have a manufacturing setup which is more proactive than being just reactive. So you're actually staying ahead of any problems that could potentially escalate, which means you're able to reduce downtime and save cost. And in manufacturing, downtime is actually a dirty word. So anything that can actually reduce downtime is big. Another aspect of how these advancements and how they integrate, in the manufacturing environment is say machine learning, for example, right? It takes things a step further, where you can actually optimize your production, you can analyze your production data in real time, and the system can also suggest adjustments to keep everything running at peak performance, help you identify defects or deviations in your manufacturing process before they actually hit the final product. So these are, couple of things that I can think of when we talk about how these advancements are shaping the integration in modern manufacturing.
Are there other examples on how workforce, augmentate how humans and machines work together? I mean, you mentioned, like there's predictive maintenance. Obviously, that's saving some time to sit there and have someone like a technician have to run diagnostics and things like that. I mean, instead, the AI can do that for them. Are there other examples?
Yeah. So like for instance, I just say a defense manufacturing facility, right? Like you have a quality is such an important aspect, and also on-time delivery, because if you're dealing with government contracts, you have to make sure that you're meeting and adhering to all your contractual obligations. So if say that setup or that manufacturing facility, say they were to use an AI tool, and if they say it's tracking quality metrics across a production line, what AI or any of these new technologies can do is that it can help you notice a subtle pattern, say in a component failure. What then that can do next is it'll alert the shop floor technician or the supervisor who's overseeing that area or that workstation, and then they can make those necessary adjustments or recalibrate the process. So what happens now is, you have technology and the human mind, whether they're improving product quality or any of that, they can actually work together faster than either of them could have done it alone. Right? Another example I can think of is machine learning models. They can simulate complex design virtually. It allows engineers to test multiple configurations, multiple scenarios before you actually build anything physical. And this saves weeks or even months worth of development time. So basically, you can have a solid prototype in a short period of time, without overextending your resources. And, and we at Deltek, we actually walk the talk, because, even we are heavily invested in AI and ML. So at Deltek, when we look at ways to apply AI or machine learning, we are actually focused on task automation. Basically, you can take care of those manual, time-consuming tasks that have to be done, but that's also taking valuable time away from your teams. We're also looking at ways to make your teams more productive. That is, help them get to the information that they need faster, so then they can deliver projects, on time, and that's with a high quality output. And we're also looking at ways to simplify workflows. That is, reducing the number of steps you have to take to complete routine tasks. You can eliminate some of those risks associated with some repetitive and manual tasks, and also make sure that your entire operation is a lot more easier to manage, and your teams are able to drive more strategic and purposeful decisions. And one thing I'll definitely add, since I'm talking about Deltek and our AI initiatives, is we recently rolled out a Deltek Della, and it's actually an AI-powered business companion, which is which is really revolutionizing delivery of projects. Whether you're automating tasks, whether you're actually data mining or extracting insights from complex data, or even anticipating resource needs. Like Della is fueled by AI capabilities that can help meet manufacturers' unique needs. So when we talk about technology, it's not about doing less. It's about doing more impactful work.
Yeah, and obviously automation's been around for a bit, but AI is really automating so much more, and as we continue to see automation reduce the need for you mentioned, some of the manual tasks that are just basically are or can be eliminated. How are roles within the manufacturing evolving?
So automation is obviously doing more than just streamlining tasks, right? It's also transforming what work looks like on the shop floor. So with fewer manual tasks, people are now stepping into roles that require more strategic thinking and, from a problem-solving approach. So as machines are now handling repetitive tasks where you have technology that's able to do that for you, shop floor operators have to also become, data interpreters, because instead of now just physically inspecting a product or ensuring that, all the jobs are taken care of, they have to also now look at data. Like they have to maybe analyze dashboards. They have to, look for information. And also they have to not just, as I said, it's just not about checking the box and say, okay, ABC is done. I'm done for the day. No, now you have systems and you have tools where you look at information, you're like, okay, how can I optimize this process? How can I make this workflow easier, right? So now they have to get a little more creative. They have to look at things from a more strategic perspective. And technicians or even quality personnel, right? They can use automated quality control systems where they can now access quality information real time. They can make some strategic and critical decisions real time. And supervisors are also no longer just managing people. They have to also manage technologies that can enhance team productivity. So yeah, it's just not about just performing your daily duties. It's also looking at things, from a more forward-thinking perspective. Like, okay, how do I make this better and how do I improve upon this process?
And is there a simplicity to some of it in terms of you had mentioned that a lot of some roles especially will need to be able to focus on and learn from this data, and is it just a matter of being able to providing the software that breaks the data down simply into a dashboard, or can what kind of ways do these roles need to evolve with data like that?
Right. So we are already living in a data-driven world, and the future of the workplace is going to be even more intensely data-driven. And one of the things, employers and even businesses across need to understand is data literacy is going to be extremely critical, to your workforce, because you want to ensure that your workforce has the ability to understand data and act on insights that's generated by this technology. And as I mentioned, employees should be able to read, reports and dashboards and also interpret, recommendations. Like if you have an ERP system or a QMS system or a supply chain type of a software, then you want to make sure that your employees can actually understand and, act on those recommendations. Another thing is, technicians and engineers, they have to just go beyond just performing tasks. They have to become well-versed with technology because now it's part of their daily duties. And because technology is taking over repetitive tasks, human ingenuity becomes even more important. So when you look at data, when you look at all these different technologies and this new tech-driven world, employees have to now start thinking, okay, how can I troubleshoot unexpected issues? How can I take technology? How can I take my process and optimize my workflows? How can I think beyond, the normal and the usual, and how can I, innovate? How can I maybe come up with a new idea to solve a particular process, or how can I make this better? How can I make things a lot, it's all about working smarter, not harder, right? Because your workplace is evolving. So it's also about that upskilling. It's about that continuous learning, and whether it's software, whether it's process, whether it's tech integration, all of this is essential, to keep your team's future ready. And why is this critical, right? One is, of course, learning, understanding data, and all of that. But this is important because when you talk manufacturing, right, the complexity of products is just increasing. Designs are a lot more intricate. Compliance standards are getting a lot more tighter. So roles have to evolve to meet these demands efficiently. And also with technology managing tasks, teams can now focus on improving processes and also adapting to newer, changing needs. And a workforce that combines technical skills with critical thinking, again, helps manufacturers stay ahead of the curve.
And so, continuous learning is obviously, as you mentioned, it's going to be so crucial for the modern manufacturing workforce going forward. Are there strategies or tools that companies can use to kind of effectively upskill their teams and keep up with the rapidly evolving technology?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I would definitely like to say is that, what keeps everything moving forward, right? Continuously adapting, continuously learning. And in this tech-driven world that we live in, you cannot be stagnant. Like, the whole approach of status quo, right? Like, oh, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it, right? No, you have to start looking at it from like, okay, how do I make sure that my organization is ready to manage change? How is it, is it well equipped to address any evolving needs? And because, as I said, technology is evolving and businesses have to, stay ahead of this. And another thing is, you have to bridge those skills gap, right? As traditional roles shift, employees need new skills to match their evolving responsibilities. So, how do businesses go about this? There are some strategies, like for instance, you can actually leverage technology, right? There are several e-learning platforms, or there are some industry-specific tools that can offer flexible on-demand training, especially in manufacturing, right? You are using complex machinery. There's complex procedures and processes. So immersive training using, say, AR, VR training simulations, that can help, shop floor technicians actually practice in a safe, controlled environment. And obviously, you have on-the-job learning, the peer partnership and mentoring. And another thing that's picking up is, and it's been around for a while, but it's critical to think that way, is certifications and incentives, right? Offering certifications for, say, a training that's completed, right? That motivates employees, and it recognizes their progress, and tying their learning to career growth, because that shows employees, how upskilling can lead to new opportunities within the company. And again, this has been said enough, but I'll say it again. Investing in employee growth builds trust. It also makes them feel valued, which is critical for retaining top talent. And the reason why I say this is because I mentioned the Clarity survey earlier in this conversation, and one of the findings was that manufacturers say that attracting and retaining top talent is one of the topmost challenges that manufacturers are facing. So again, upskilling, learning, continuous learning becomes extremely important in that scenario if you want to retain talent and you want to ensure that they are growing with you and that they don't walk out the door.
So that's great. And just stay on top of the latest technology is obviously crucial. You mentioned AR, VR, and that's been something that we've been covering more and more of as some companies, especially the more forward-looking ones, kind of use it for inspections and things like that, which also ties back into AI and machine learning, which is very interesting. And some companies use it for safety purposes, not on the shop floor, obviously, but maybe like virtual reality and training. But in general, what ways are automation and real-time monitoring helping to improve workplace safety in manufacturing?
Right. So manufacturing, in several instances can actually be, as I said, a fairly intense environment, because you have manufacturers who use complex machinery, who use sophisticated equipment, and it may seem great to use all this cool stuff, but there's also another side to it, right? You have to also ensure that your employees are working in a safe environment, and it is obviously a priority in manufacturing. And when we talk about safety, right, it's just not about preventing accidents. It's also creating an environment where employees feel secure, they feel supported, they're valued. And when you talk about automation, right? Automation of hazardous tasks. Basically, automation takes over that physically demanding or hazardous tasks, such as maybe handling toxic materials or operating heavy machinery, or sometimes even welding in confined spaces. So when you automate, you are reducing those risky jobs. And you also have machines, that are equipped with smart technology. They can now handle tasks that require extreme accuracy. So where you're not only ensuring that your employees are not working, with, what you say, hazardous or dangerous equipment, but you're also minimizing human error. So this shift allows shop floor personnel to then focus on supervision, rather than just taking on physically risky activities. And another aspect is also real-time monitoring, because you want to identify certain risks early on, right? And you have, again, tools or like sensors or even IoT devices, right? Internet of Things, which is another big thing. All of this helps monitor equipment and even environment in real time. So for instance, you can identify potential safety issues like overheating of maybe a lab or your shop floor, or if there are some abnormal vibrations, right? That can actually potentially escalate into bigger problems. So having tools and equipment to actually help you monitor that can, really protect your employees. And also, if you have systems that can alert teams to maintenance needs, whether, say, this piece of equipment needs to be maintained, or the maintenance cycle is coming up, or you want to make sure you're calibrating that equipment. So what you do is you're preventing accidents, before you're taking steps to prevent any accidents that's caused by machine failure.
Yeah, excellent. Obviously, it all comes back to the data too, and having all of that data from sensors, data from IoT, and making something out of it. And sometimes, the manufacturing sector gets a bad rap for being kind of slow moving or slow to adapt to new technology. Obviously, that's not universal across the board, but how would fostering a culture of innovation and being able to adapt quickly benefit a connected enterprise in manufacturing, for example?
Yeah, so I actually really like that question, because I feel, sure, technology is transforming manufacturing, but it's the culture that makes these changes sustainable. And fostering a culture of innovation, adaptability, and collaboration, these are keys to fully integrating new technologies and also creating a truly connected enterprise. And a culture of innovation starts with a mindset that embraces change. In a connected enterprise, teams must be open to exploring new solutions, even if it means stepping outside of their comfort zone. So, for instance, you may have your team say they are experimenting with a new tool or a new software, right, that maybe helps them improve a certain kind of process efficiency, or maybe it helps them, improves the time on the design or prototyping or whatever it may be. And it's also important for employees, and I'm not talking just today. It's something that we have to think from a perspective of tomorrow. Is that failure is a learning opportunity. So if you provide your organization, your business, that platform, where they can innovate, where they can think beyond, the usual parameters, that goes a long way. And by encouraging employees to be proactive in this regard, companies can also stay on top of industry advancements, because unless you experiment, unless you play with tools, you would not know what's working for you and what's not working for you, right? And again, when you talk about manufacturing, right, it's precision is so important. So you definitely want to adopt those techniques, those technologies that works best for your business. At the same time, keep pace with the evolving expectations of your customers. So companies that invest in rewarding creative problem solving are better equipped to adapt and lead the market. So when you talk about innovation, when you talk about that adaptability, that mindset is critical, and giving that space to your organization is important.
What about within the organization then? Should they encourage maybe some collaboration across teams to kind of learn different things and support the shift?
Yeah, and how does that happen, right? We hear a lot about cross-functional teams, right? And that's And sure, that happens now. It's not like it's something new or path breaking. But what we have to also understand is that if everything is going to be tech driven in the future, then businesses have to realize that that is going to become a lot more mainstream, because innovation thrives when different expertise comes together, right? When you create a cross-functional team, say your organization is trying to adopt a shop floor software, and which means then your cross-functional team should definitely consist of engineers, your production supervisors or technicians or subject matter experts, even IT, maybe even finance, right? And this team will then ensure that because everyone's got a stake in this, like everyone wants to be successful and the organization wants to be successful. So you put together this cross-functional team of experts. So now what happens is now you're facilitating, a practice where new technologies can seamlessly integrate with your existing process. Whether you're trying to improve your product quality or whether you're ensuring strict compliance, you can ensure that things are moving seamlessly with everyone's voice heard. Another way to drive that collaboration is breaking down silos. And a lot of companies are already doing that, where you have collaboration tools. It could be something as simple as an ERP system or a quality management system, right? These systems can communicate with the key stakeholders. They can share data real time, and that encourages information flow across departments. And when teams share insights and solutions in real time, then they can quickly address any potential issues, or they can foresee a roadblock, improve or calibrate as they move along, and also innovate together. And last but not the least, you want to encourage employees to contribute to the ideas. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Place that idea on the table. Whether it makes the final cut doesn't matter, but at least you have to give your employees that platform to place their ideas. And by involving everyone, companies can then tap into a wide range of perspectives that can lead to groundbreaking solutions.
Yeah, some of these, especially like really large, older manufacturers, like you mentioned, if they've been too siloed, they've seen what that does, and they need more collaboration across the different, and they've seen the benefits once they, like you mentioned, they're breaking down the silos that sometimes can get built up over the years, and maybe you don't even realize it. But and it's like kind of the bigger, older companies maybe looking for like a Silicon Valley or just some kind of like a startup or disruptor culture. But with technology now, what role does technological agility play in helping companies stay competitive and responsive to obviously a fast-paced environment?
Yeah. So a great question, because it's like, as I mentioned, right? Like, there are still companies out there who are fairly rigid, and they're not as quickly receptive to change. But one thing I think we all can agree on is that you can control what's happening internally, right? But then you cannot control the external factors, and which also means you have to manage internal pressures, external pressures, and still stay competitive. And when I say staying competitive, that requires more than just adopting new technologies. It's all about being agile enough to responding to those changes. And technological agility is basically, your ability to quickly integrate new tools or process or systems without disrupting your existing operations. So companies say that use flexible ERP systems. They can scale up or down quickly, ensuring that they meet the customer needs, their contractual obligations, without having to overextend their resources. I'll give you a specific example. So manufacturers sometimes may need to, say, generate or control changes to parts or documents or bills of material, and even routings. And with Deltek's CostPoint software, you can generate engineering change requests or engineering change notifications, and you can notify users in the organization about the ECN status changes. So what happens here now is CostPoint users can then use either inquiries or reports to check or assess the effect of those change notices on their current operations, and all of this is happening real time. So with this, what happens is manufacturers can then make faster, more informed decisions. So if you were not receptive to change, you would not be able to do this, right? And this agility then also lets companies adjust, say, their production schedules, their inventory levels, even quality controls, so that way they they can ensure that they are remaining responsive to what their customers want.
So just, sorry, you may have already answered this, but I mean, how can manufacturers then stay agile and just make sure that they're really prepared to meet evolving customer demands going forward in this, rapidly evolving environment?
Right. So if you're a manufacturer, I think most of them would know that they need to have some space for flexibility, because they need to have flexible production lines and supply chains, so that way if they have to quickly adapt to say a new product introduction, or if there's a sudden change in demands, right? You've got to have, something's got to give, right? Or else you're never going to be able to do that. But if they really want to, stay agile, right? So flexibility is key. And I'll give you an example. Again, it'll be more impactful if I give you an example. So imagine you're a manufacturer, right? And say you're in the government contracting industry, right? You are awarded a contract. There are all these different contractual obligations. And say in this new contract that you receive, there are new quality specifications, say for a next generation aircraft component, all right? Under Deltek, you have TIP Technologies, TIP QA, right? It's a quality management software. What manufacturers can do if they were to use this software is they can swiftly update their inspection plans and quality workflows to align with these new requirements, ensuring that they are staying compliant without having to disrupt their existing operations. And another thing is, we also spoke about connected enterprises, right? So with TIP QA, what happens is it can actually integrate with other ERP platforms, whether it's Deltek's very own CostPoint or any other ERP for that matter, because this particular software is ERP agnostic. So anyone using any software can actually, integrate this TIP QA into their processes. And what happens is that enables seamless adjustments across production and supply chain processes so that your entire operation stays in sync. And obviously, when we talk about how can you stay agile, well, you've also got to engage with your customers. But agility isn't just about adapting to that market shifts or your customers' feedback or even technological changes. It also means being prepared for evolving regulations, all right? Especially if you're a government contractor and if you're a manufacturer. So like say, for instance, the CMMC 2.0 rule. Like this framework ensures that manufacturers in the defense supply chain, they meet stringent cybersecurity standards by prioritizing cybersecurity and leveraging advanced tools. Manufacturers can then protect their operations and also maintain compliance, which is, again, increasingly critical in today's interconnected digital environment. And again, continuous investment in research and development. Like you need to have this proactive approach because this allows companies to then experiment with new materials, processes, ensuring that they can meet any new trend or new requirement. Like, again, for instance, you have many manufacturers who are now exploring the use of sustainable materials to meet the growing demand for eco-friendly solutions. Now, eco-friendly solutions, it's not a new thing. Again, it's been there, for a while now, but it's going to get a lot more mainstream in the coming years. So any manufacturer who's exploring new technology here is obviously going to, stay ahead of the curve. And the reason why we talk about agility, right, is for one main critical reason, is to maintain your competitiveness in the market. Because if you're an agile company, you can then pivot your strategies accordingly, quickly, minimize any disruptions, and also seize those opportunities. Because when you talk about market shifts, sometimes they can happen overnight. Like there could be a regulatory shift that takes place, or there's a new technology that can be completely disrupting everything, or even a geopolitical event, right, that can really disrupt you. So that way you can stay, competitive. You can outpace your competitors if you are an agile and a more flexible organization.
There's so many unpredictable things that can just spring up any day, and we never would have seen it coming. It's just the only constant is change, obviously. We really kind of covered a lot of ground today, and I really appreciate your insight on everything. If there's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember about the future of manufacturing going forward, what would it be?
Well, the future of manufacturing will be shaped by digital transformation. And that's a powerful convergence of people, process, and technology. And this transformation is all about enabling innovation. It's driving efficiency and also empowering people to tackle complex challenges. And by embracing this particular change, this evolution, manufacturers can stay competitive, they can stay resilient, and also be ready to meet the demands of the future. And I would like to tell your audience this, like a lot of times people have this like, oh, I think I know I need to adopt this thing, or that's when I can get better, or this will improve my business outcome, and so on and so forth. But if you're not sure where to start, right, Deltek is right here to support you, right? And our mission is to help project-based businesses succeed and grow. And whether you're trying to improve project efficiency, whether it's about optimizing resource allocation or managing talent or transforming your quality management, our software provides the necessary tools to achieve these goals. And we as a company, at Deltek, we are continuously investing in research and development to stay ahead of industry trends so that our customers can benefit from our cutting-edge solutions. So I would urge your audience to go to deltek.com, check out our manufacturing page, our aerospace and defense industry page, and reach out to us if you have any questions, because the future of the workplace is evolving and the time to act is now.
Well, Padma, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. It was a very interesting and engaging conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Thank you.
To learn more about the latest manufacturing trends and to hear more podcasts, don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast feed. And to stay up to date on what's happening in manufacturing today and to hear more podcasts, you can also visit us at advancedmanufacturing.org.